The Whispering Swamp. Jake had always been an avid hiker. He found solace in the symphony of rustling leaves, chirping birds, and the crunch of earth beneath his boots. Having explored mountains, valleys, and forests across the country, he yearned for something more exotic. His next destination? The Mistwood Forest, renowned for its eerie swamp nestled deep within its boundaries. He started his trek early in the morning. The forest greeted him with a gentle, moist air that had a unique, earthy scent. As the hours rolled by, Jake found himself captivated by the beauty of Mistwood. The trees were unusually tall, their canopies merging into a dense veil, filtering the sunlight to cast a perpetual gloom below. However, as the day progressed, Jake began to realize he was veering off track. The marked trail he started on became faint, gradually replaced by uneven, swampy terrain. The trees around him seemed to watch silently, their gnarled branches resembling outstretched arms trying to grab him. Anxiety crept in, but Jake's determination to get back on track overpowered his fear. As he trudged on, the swamp's waters grew thicker and murkier. An odd stench permeated the air, a mix of rotting vegetation and something else. Suddenly, he heard a faint whisper. It was an indistinct murmur, echoing from somewhere deep within the swamp. The voice seemed to call him, guiding his steps further into the marshlands. Though every instinct screamed at him to turn around, a hypnotic allure drew him deeper into the heart of the swamp. The sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. But in the swamp, the approaching darkness felt oppressive, choking. Jake's boots were sucked into the mud with every step, and the whispering grew louder, more pronounced. He stumbled upon an old wooden boat, half submerged and covered in moss. Beside it lay an oar, similarly decayed. Taking this as a sign, Jake decided to row deeper into the swamp, hoping to find his way out on the other side. But as he rowed, the waters became thick like tar, slowing his progress. The whispering voices now seemed to be all around him, their chants rhythmic and enchanting. In his dazed state, Jake barely noticed the skeletal remains of past hikers submerged in the water around him. Suddenly, a ghostly figure emerged from the mists, a woman draped in white, her hair floating in the water. Her eyes were hollow sockets, yet they held Jake in a trance. She sang a mournful lullaby, her voice intertwining with the whispers. Jake, now completely entranced, dropped the oar and reached out to her. But as his fingers touched hers, he felt the icy grip of death. The woman pulled him into the murky depths, and the swamp consumed him, adding one more soul to its collection. Back at the edge of Mistwood Forest, the locals whispered tales of the haunted swamp, warning travelers of its bewitching allure. But every year, a few brave souls ventured in, lured by the siren's call, never to return. And the swamp, with its never-ending whispers, continued its eternal dance of seduction and death. The Unending Echo. A few years after college, Lara decided to embrace the wilderness for a weekend getaway. Having found a secluded cabin deep within the Ravenwood Forest, she thought it would be the perfect place to unwind from the city's relentless bustle. Lara arrived at dusk. The cabin was a quaint, log-structured building nestled among the towering pines, its wooden exterior showing signs of age but still looking inviting. As darkness enveloped the forest, the only light came from the lantern she brought with her and the warm glow of the fireplace inside. The first night was a peaceful experience, with the gentle sound of crickets outside and the wind rustling through the trees. Lara slept soundly, cocooned in the warmth of her bed. However, the serenity was short-lived. On the second night, as Lara was drifting into sleep, she heard a faint knocking on the cabin door. Thinking it was just her imagination, she ignored it. But then it came again, more persistent this time. Cautiously, she approached the door and peered through a small window. The night outside was pitch black, and she could see nothing. Thinking it might just be a fallen branch or some animal, she returned to bed. But the knocking returned, louder and more urgent. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed from outside. "Let me in, Lara." She froze in horror. How did it know her name? Grabbing the lantern, she once again approached the door. This time, she saw the outline of a man, his face hidden in shadows, his fingers tapping on the wooden door. Panicking, Lara searched for something to defend herself with and found an old axe near the fireplace. she shouted. "Who are you? Leave, or I'll call the police." The mysterious man chuckled, his voice distorted as if coming from a distance. "There's no escape, Lara. This cabin was mine, and you are trespassing." Suddenly, the cabin's walls seemed to close in, the windows covered by thick, dark vines. Lara's attempts to open the door were in vain. It was jammed shut. The laughter from outside grew louder, echoing endlessly. As dawn broke, the eerie happenings ceased, and the cabin returned to its peaceful state. But the man's voice lingered in Lara's mind. "You are trespassing." Determined to uncover the truth, Lara visited the local town library. To her horror, she discovered that decades ago a man named Edgar lived in the same cabin. It was rumored he practiced dark rituals and was shunned by the community. One night, the townsfolk, driven by fear, set his cabin on fire with Edgar trapped inside. Realizing she was reliving Edgar's final moments, Lara decided to leave immediately. But the forest seemed to have other plans. As she made her way out, the trees morphed into twisted figures, blocking her path. Every time she thought she found an exit, she was led back to the cabin. It was dusk when Lara, defeated and exhausted, returned to the cabin. As night fell, the knocking resumed, the voice calling her from outside. "Let me in, Lara." Years passed, and travelers occasionally spoke of a desolate cabin in Ravenwood Forest. Some claimed to hear a woman's voice, echoing through the trees, whispering, "Who are you? Leave, or I'll call the police." Others said they'd seen the shadow of a man, knocking endlessly on the cabin door. The forest had claimed another soul, and the cabin's tragic history echoed endlessly through its dark, looming trees. Thank you for journeying with us into the realm of the unknown tonight. If you felt a shiver down your spine and want to dive deeper into the world of true horror, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It's the best way to ensure you never miss out on our spine-tingling tales. Until next time, remember, the scariest stories are the ones that are true. Sleep tight, brave souls.